Walter Lippmann's speech from the Lippmann Papers. I think I am speaking for all of you when I say that we have come here in order that we may pause for a moment in which to fortify our faith and to renew our courage and to make strong our spirit. We have come back to Harvard, and when we go away, we shall have realized what ordinary words can scarcely make real to us. We shall realize what it is that is threatened with destruction, what it is that we are called upon to defend. We walk again through the yard, and we shall think of the 3 centuries during which on the ground men believed in the dignity of the human soul, and how, believing this, they have cherished and labored patiently in the great central tradition of the Western world. This memory will fortify our faith, and we shall say to ourselves that this glory which is ours, this glory which we have known since our youth, this glory which has given to each of us whatever there is in him that matters at all, we shall say that this glory shall not perish from the earth. We have come back here, along with those we love, to see one another again. And by being together, we shall remember that we are part of a great company. We shall remember that we are not mere individuals isolated in a tempest, that we are members of a community, that what we have to do, we shall do together, with friends beside us. And their friendliness will quiet our anxieties, and ours will quiet theirs. And as they live up to what we expect of them, we shall find the resolution to live up to what they expect of us. And so we shall renew our courage, we shall find the strength that we shall need. I am speaking solemnly because this is a solemn hour in the history of the modern world. No one here today will imagine he can divert himself by forgetting it. But though the world roars and rages about us, we must secure our peace of mind, a quiet place of tranquility and of order and a purpose within our own selves. For it is doubt and uncertainty of purpose and confusion of values which unnerves men. Peace of mind comes to men only when, having faced all the issues clearly and without flinching, they have made their decision and are resolved. For myself, I like to think these days of the words of Washington which Governor Morris reported, words spoken when the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia seemed about to fail. Washington, said Morris, was collected within himself. His countenance had more than usual solemnity. His eye was fixed, and seemed to look into futurity. It is, said he, too probable that no plan we propose will be adopted. Perhaps another dreadful conflict is to be sustained. If to please the people we offer what we ourselves disapprove, how can we afterwards defend our work? Let us raise a standard to which the wise and honest can repair. The event is in the hands of God. Upon the standard to which the wise and honest generation must now repair, it is written, "You have lived the easy way, henceforth you will live the hard way." It is written, "You came into a great heritage made by the insight and the sweat and blood of inspired and devoted and courageous men. Thoughtlessly and in utmost self-indulgence you have all but squandered this inheritance. Now only by the heroic virtues which made this inheritance can you restore it again. It is written, you took the good things for granted. Now you must earn them again. It is written, for every right that you cherish, you must have a duty which you must fulfill. For every hope that you entertain, you have a task that you must perform. For every good that you wish to preserve, you will have to sacrifice your comfort and your ease. There is nothing for nothing any longer. For 20 years, the free peoples of the Western world took the easy way, ourselves more light-heartedly than any others. That is why we were stricken. That is why the defenses of Western civilization crumbled. That is why we find ourselves today knowing that we here in America may soon be the last stronghold of our civilization, the citadel of law and of liberty, of mercy and of charity, of justice among men, and of love and of goodwill. We are defending that citadel. We have made it the center of the ultimate resistance to the evil which is devastating the world. But more than that, more than the center of resistance, we mean to make it the center of resurrection, the source of the energies by which the men who believed as we do may be liberated, and the lands that are subjugated redeemed, and the world we live in purified and pacified once more. This is the American destiny, and unless we fulfill that destiny, we shall have betrayed our own past, and we should make our own future meaningless, chaotic, and low. We shall not resist the evil that has come into the world, nor prepare the resurrection in which we believe, if we continue to take, as we have taken so persistently, the easy way in all things. Let us remind ourselves how in these 20 years we have at the critical junctures taken always the road of the least effort and the method of the cheapest solution and of greatest self-indulgence. In 1917 to 1918, we participated in a war which ended in the victory of the free peoples. It was hard to make a good and magnanimous peace. It was easier to make a bad and unworkable peace. We took the easiest way. Having sacrificed blood and treasure to win the war, having failed to establish quickly and at the first stroke a good and lasting peace, it was too hard, it was too much trouble to keep on trying. We gave up. We took the easy way, the way that required us to do nothing, and we passed resolutions and made pious declarations saying that there was not going to be any more war, that war was henceforth outlawed. Thus, we entered the post-war 20s, refusing to organize the peace of the world because that was too much trouble, believing, because that was no trouble at all, that peace would last by declaring that it ought to last. So enchanted were we with our own noble but inexpensive sentiments that, though the world was disorganized and in anarchy, we decided to disarm ourselves and the other democracies. That was also the easy way. It saved money. It saved effort. In this mood, we faced the problems of reconstruction from the other war. It was too much trouble to make a workable settlement of reparations and of the war debts. It was easier to let them break down and wreck the finances of the world. We took the easier way. It was too much trouble to work out arrangements for the resumption of trade because it was too much trouble to deal with the vested interests and the lobbyists and the politicians. It was easier to let the trade of the world be strangled by tariffs, quotas, and exchange controls, and we took the easy way. It was easier to finance an inflationary boom by cheap money than it was to reestablish trade based on the exchange of goods. We indulged ourselves in the inflationary boom and let it run, because it was too much trouble to check it, into a crash that threw about 25 millions, here and abroad, out of work, and destroyed the savings of a large part of the people of all countries. Having got to that, it was too hard to liquidate the inflation. It was easier to cover up the inflation and pretend that it did not exist. So we took the easier way. We maintained the tariffs, we maintained the wage costs and the overhead expenditures of the boom, and thus made it impossible to recover from the crash. The failure of the recovery produced at the foundations of Western civilization a revolutionary discontent. It was easy to be frightened by the discontent. So we were properly frightened. But it was hard to make the effort and the sacrifice to remedy the discontent. And because it was hard, we did not do it. And all that we did was to accuse one another of being economic royalists on the one hand, economic lunatics on the other. It was easier to call names than it was to do anything else, and so we called names. Then out of the discontent, there was bred in the heart of Europe and the edge of Asia an organized rebellion against the whole heritage of Western civilization. It was easy to disapprove, and we disapproved. But it was hard to organize and prepare the resistance. That would have required money and effort and sacrifice and discipline and courage. We watched the rebellion grow. We heard it threaten the things we believe in. We saw it commit, year after year, savage crimes. We disliked it all. But we liked better our easygoing ways, our jobs, our profits, and our pleasures, and so we said, it is bad, but it won't last. It is dangerous, but it can't cross the ocean. It is evil, but if we arm ourselves and discipline ourselves, and act with other free peoples to contain it and hold it back, we shall be giving up our ease and our comfort, we shall be taking risks, and that is more trouble than we care to take. So we are where we are today. We are where we are because wherever we had a choice to make, we have chosen the alternative that required the least effort at the moment. There is organized, mechanized evil loose in the world. But what has made possible its victories is the lazy, self-indulgent materialism, the amiable, lackadaisical, footless, confused complacency of the free nations of the world. They have dissipated, like wastrels and drunkards, the inheritance of freedom and order that came to them from hard-working, thrifty, faithful, believing, and brave men. The disaster in the midst of which we are living is a disaster in the character of men. It is a catastrophe of the soul of a whole generation which has forgotten, has lost, and had renounced the imperative and indispensable virtues of laborious, heroic, and honorable men. To these virtues we shall return in the ordeal through which we are now passing, or all that still remains will be lost, and all that we attempt, in order to defend it, will be in vain. We shall turn from the soft vices in which a civilization decays. We shall return to the stern virtues by which a civilization is made. We shall do this because, at long last, we know that we must, because finally we begin to see that the hard way is the only enduring way. You had perhaps hoped, as I did when we came together for our 25th reunion, that tonight we should have reached a point in our lives when we could look forward in a few more years to retiring from active responsibility in the heat of the day, and could look forward to withdrawing into the calm of a cooler evening. You know that that is not to be. We have not yet earned our right to rest at ease. When we think of the desperate misery and the awful suffering that has befallen the people of France and of Great Britain and of Austria and Czechoslovakia and Poland and Denmark and Norway and the Netherlands and Belgium, we shall not, I hope, complain or feel sorry for ourselves. I like to think. In fact, I intend to go away from here thinking that having remembered the past, we shall not falter, having seen one another again, we shall not flinch.